It's been really exciting being able to swing a little bit bigger this year. I'm hoping to be the first woman to complete all 3 of the mountain race series events in 1 year.
I know she's definitely trying to go for the women's win. It's pretty crazy to string together a year like that. I wish I had better words to articulate it, but that's crazy is kind of just the thing that sticks in my brain.
The mountain race series are rougher events than I've ridden before, for sure.
Silk Road is like the queen event. It is the hardest of all the 3 because it has so many factors. You have Atlas in Morocco, which is like famously very chunky, very rough, difficult resupply, can be quite hot. And then Hellenic, which is the newest of the 3, is probably the most technical. Like, people are starting to call it the mountain bike event of the 3.
Being out on the course for so many days, you know, a week or more, it's going to be a destructive process.
The first time I saw Meaghan on the scene was the year there was a heat dome on the BC Epic. Like, 1, I was dot watching the race, but then 2, Jenny Tuff, who is like, there's few women who are big in bikepacking, and she was one of the biggest. And so I was dot watching for Jenny, and Jenny went into a hotel room and Meaghan kept powering along, stuffing ice down her jersey, and like outrode the entire field.
The BC Epic was my first off-road event. I went into the BC Epic wanting to set a new women's course record, and I ended up taking the overall win in a heat dome in really, really challenging conditions.
And so I was like, holy crap, not only is she like exceptionally strong, but she's exceptionally resilient. And that was really the first time I was like, okay, this gal is really, really something else.
I started rondineering in 2016, and that's the year that Lael Wilcox won the Trans Am bike race. And that kind of put the ultra endurance race bug in my head, because before that point, I didn't know that you could compete in ultra cycling. I went out and bought a road bike and signed up for the Trans Am in 2017. And yeah, that's where things started. Signing up for one of the biggest ultras out there for your first event maybe isn't an advisable move, but I planned well. I had a lot of experience bike touring, so I was able to kind of keep going day after day and manage those challenges that came up.
She might not say this about herself, but she's extremely level-headed when it comes to her racing. She always has this moving forward attitude, which will like reward you in spades in bikepack racing.
Atlas was a huge challenge for me. It takes place in early February. I'm still kind of deep in Canadian winter. I crashed in December and injured my shoulder, and that caused me a lot of pain in January. I was pretty anxious going into Morocco that I, wouldn't be able to race at all. And I feel like I created this problem for myself by announcing I was going to do the mountain race series. And
I think to go into events like this, you want to have the lightest mind possible. You want to be able to go in and really just focus on the task at hand versus thinking about all the things it took to get to the start line.
Yeah, some challenges that brought me a lot of anxiety. And I rode with the fork locked out for the first 36 hours. My body was pretty beat up. I started getting some lower back pain. So I think the pain is what made the race really difficult. I was already a bit weak from having the shoulder injury, and now my lower back hurts. In that event, it really was the beautiful landscapes that kept me going, because you're just in such a bizarre, incredible place. The nights are long, but they're also amazing. We had a full moon. I felt like I was doing something just so ridiculous and awesome. I was able to kind of like push through in between, ibuprofens. I consider a short race kind of anything from like maybe 18 to 48 hours, and a long race something more than 4 days. The really long races are kind of 2 weeks or more. They're so satisfying to be out on the road, I love really getting into the feel of the event.
It's so funny, they make their lists before the Tour Divide of who's going to be a fierce competitor, and most people looked at Anna Jager, who was in second, and said she's probably going to win. And then Meaghan went out, and I think she was leading the entire way and continued to open the gap wider and wider and wider.
I'm most proud of winning the Tour Divide last year. I put a lot of time and energy into training and preparation, and I managed to hold it together over the course of like almost 16 days.
That's the thing that makes the Tour Divide so hard. Each race has their thing that makes it really difficult, but the Tour Divide is stringing together as many good or decent days as possible, knowing that it's a long race, you're not going to have a great day every day, but as long as you can stay consistent, you're going to have a great race. And so that to me was the most impressive part of that ride, was just how consistent she was.
I had fun. I was in a really good headspace, so I think I'm proud because I managed to do something really hard and have a good time doing it. I don't think I'd be able to do what I do in my life without the support of my family. To know that they believe in me, they believe what I'm doing. It's nice to share the adventures with somebody.
I often, when she's in a big race, I'll sit, regardless of the time zone, I will watch until her dot stops for the night and I know she's camped. I want to know that somebody's watching her. So if it means I have to stay awake until 3 a.m, I do.
Going into Hellenic, I think I was a lot more prepared. I had more time to get my bike ready, so I swapped out the drop bars for flat bars, and I'd already had the suspension fork on it, and I'd worked out the kinks. I had been staying in Europe, visited my coach, and just felt much more ready to tackle the challenge.
She just came into that race so much more organized, with such a lighter mind, and she was able to race that she wanted versus race the way that her competitors required her to race.
I was excited about the competition. There were some really strong athletes there. And then seeing myself succeed over the first day or so just made it really a joyful experience. I felt like I was able to ride my best race, and I was efficient. I was having fun out there.
At least from the outside looking in, I could feel so much more confidence and calmness from her.
Oh, are you talking to me? I guess we want to get some footage of me riding my bike and having fun out here and training for the Silk Road.
The thing about Silk Road is more than any of the other races, anything can happen there. It is huge mountains. The weather changes very quickly. You have altitude. There's a 50-50 chance you get food poisoning.
And these ones have some, crazy stuff involved. There's a 30K pack-a-bike. 30K of carrying your bike does not make a whole lot of sense to me. That is not a bicycle race.
I have a feeling that Silk Road is going to take the most out of me because a lot of it takes place at altitude. There's a lot of the terrain over 3,000 meters and several passes over 3,500 meters. Yeah, so I think my goal will be to race smart, to remain efficient, to have fun out there, and just keep the pressure on until I get to the finish line.
Well, the women's race, it used to be there's a woman racing to win, and then maybe we're filling out the podium. And now we have women racing for every single spot and then more. And what's amazing about the women's podium filling up is now we have people like Meaghan cracking into the top 10, pushing for as many spots as they can. And to see someone like Meaghan being able to do that is pretty remarkable. Looking at bike pack racing in British Columbia, the women's field has exploded, and I would not hesitate to say that is in large part due to Meaghan, not only contending for a women's win, but she's up there fighting all of these dudes. And I think the best part is she has her pigtails out, and you so know that is a woman up there crushing. But I think bikepacking just needs people to be themselves and to do things their own way.
This year, my goal has been more about being part of the dynamic and growing women's field, being able to bring my best game and help other athletes bring their best games as well, because they know that someone else strong is going to be showing up.
And while it is serious racing and it is her career, she's also a person, which is refreshing. We don't just need robots smashing pedals, but having people, show those pieces of what makes them so amazing is, I think, what makes the sport so great. Yeah, she's just so happy.
Well, and I think it reflects on how well she does because she loves it. And you'd have to put yourself what they go through in these ultra races, the sleep deprivation, the eating junk food for weeks solid. It's really hard on their bodies. So she has to love it.
The thing that sometimes goes unseen is that I'm really having a fun time doing it. And I think I try and convey that in my storytelling and stuff. I'm there because I want to be and I'm having fun, and I don't think it would be possible to do it otherwise if it was a Sufferfest. I think I'm just like an animal. I just want to like get after something, like a dog in the park.